In learning about the social constructionist approach, it essentially breaks down to the fact that views and characteristics are put on us by society and our inventions of society and people. The first time I had ever heard this was when I was probably a freshman in high school. I went to a private Catholic school from preschool to eighth grade, and then went to a very diverse high school here in Omaha, Nebraska, where the majority of the student population was Hispanic and African American. A lot of people were immigrants from all over the world. Sorry, a lot of them were from. A lot of my friends actually were from Africa and had fled Sudan. And some of my friends were from Egypt. A lot of them were from Mexico and Central America, in various different countries. And I remember sitting down one day for lunch with a friend I had made my freshman year who was African American, who was born and raised in the United States. And we used to have a lot of very deep conversations. And he was very open with me. We chatted about race and where the idea of race and origins and class comes from. And he was the first person who really kind of opened me up to this idea that race and class and sexual orientation are all things that are kind of put on us by society, where they want us to determine a box. Pick a box, check that mark, and that's what you are. As I grew, from that point on is where I've really embraced that concept, where I wanted to challenge it. I wanted to know more. My whole life since then, I've spent really trying to know people more from a different angle. I wanted to hear their story. I wanted to hear their background. I wanted to hear more about their life, their culture, their upbringing, their traditions, and I wanted to be educated on them. I wanted to know everything that I could so that way I feel I was a well-rounded person. And this goes back to the gentleman that I sat with in high school at lunch, and he told me that, you know, race was developed due to ignorance. And people who are ignorant about other people's races or in, religious needs and beliefs, to class, to, sexual orientation. And in having that conversation, in determining that, it's because people are ignorant. They don't understand. They don't know what it is to walk in a person's life going through different struggles, whether those struggles be because of class, because of sexual orientation, because of race or religion. And I wanted to break all those barriers. I wanted to know all of the sides that I possibly could in life so I could be someone who is barrierless, I guess, for lack of better words. And sorry, starting to tear up. It's something that's very important to me. And now with our current political climate, it's a little difficult, and it's very difficult to see. I work primarily with people who go through a lot of those issues. I work as a CASA supervisor for Douglas County CASA in Omaha, and a lot of the parents that I work with, a lot of the kids that I work with struggle with one, if not multiple, of these factors. So I guess that's kind of my story, based on my experience with the social constructive or constructionist approach. I do think very much after learning everything that I've learned in life that a lot of what this young man said to me and what this approach is really about is something that, yeah, I do think is highly influenced by humanity and by society, and probably wouldn't be such a big deal if people could get to know each other, understand each other, and be able to accept each other for differences. You may not have to become Muslim to appreciate someone who is a Muslim, but you can definitely sit down and have a conversation with them and learn that their beliefs aren't that far off from yours, and just because they believe differently than you does not mean that they're a terrible person. And I think that that could benefit people if they could just broaden their horizons instead of living life by this kind of a approach that has been pushed on us by society and by the people around us, whether it be our cultural traditions or family traditions or simply the traditions of the United States, where we have kind of set people back based on their race or class or sexual orientation. I would like for people to be pushed forward based on their differences and people succeed.